Today, as I build a Paracord Multitool belt pouch, I want to tell you a story of grit, survival, and the incredible strength of the human spirit. It's the true story of Aaron Ralston, a man who faced the impossible and made it out alive with the help of a simple multi-tool. But it wasn't just that saved his life. So most of us know what a multi-tool is. This thing. A tool that has multiple uses and purposes. And just like that tool, we have paracord or parachute cord, a multi-purpose rope that was once primarily used in the military, but now has become common for civilian use, and we can make more than just survival bracelets with it. So, in April of 2003, Aaron Ralston, a 27-year-old outdoorsman and engineer, set out alone for a day of canyoneering in Blue John Canyon, deep in the Utah desert. He was no rookie. Experienced, fit, and confident, Aaron didn't think twice about going solo. That day, he packed lightly: water, snacks, a headlamp, climbing gear, and a cheap multi-tool, the kind you might pick up at a gas station. Not exactly top-tier survival gear, but it would prove to be the most important thing he brought. And of course, nothing like the fancy Leatherman I have here. And I'll be completely honest, I needed an excuse to buy a new one, so I did for this video. Anyhow, he didn't tell anyone where he was going. No texts, no notes, no backup plan. Just the desert, the canyons, and his own 2 feet. So as he descended into the canyon, something happened in an instant that would change his life forever. While climbing down a narrow slot, Aaron dislodged a boulder. It came crashing down, trapping his right arm between the rock and canyon wall. Now just imagine the moment it happens. 1 second you're navigating a narrow sandstone chute, sunlight filtering down in golden streaks, and your boots crunching against the canyon floor. And then, boom, a split-second shift. The boulder slips, time slows, your arm is pinned, and not just trapped, crushed. At first, there's confusion, disbelief. Aaron didn't scream or panic. He just froze, staring at this giant slab of rock that had just clamped down on his arm like a steel trap. He tried pulling, yanking, shifting his weight. He used climbing gear, ropes, and physics, but it was just like trying to lift a car with your bare hands. The rock was lodged into the canyon walls like it had always belonged there, and now so was he. The pain was surprisingly manageable at first, but it was the realization that got him. The creeping thought: no one knows I'm here, no cell service, no signal, just absolute suffocating silence. He had less than a liter of water, a couple of burritos, a few pieces of chocolate, some rope, and that multi-tool. The one with a dull blade and a cheap grip. Nothing special, but it was all he had. And then came the worst part: time. As hours passed and the adrenaline wore off, the pain set in. His hand began to swell and his fingers turned blue. The sun disappeared and the cold came, and Aaron began to understand. This wasn't a day hike anymore. This was a fight for survival. And he was stuck, miles from help, with no cell service. And on top of that, no one even knew he was missing. So for 5 long days, Aaron rationed his water. He sipped from a camelback and nibbled on what little food he had. And he tried to stay warm during freezing nights, and at one point he even carved his name, birthday, and the date he thought he'd die into the canyon wall. He filmed goodbye messages to his family. His camcorder became a diary of his final days. And dehydrated, exhausted, and hallucinating, he finally began to accept death. But something in him wouldn't let go. That survival instinct, that fire. And then on the 6th morning, an idea struck him. A horrifying, unthinkable idea. What if he amputated his own arm? You know, I've often thought about what I'd do in a situation like this, and I honestly have no idea if I'd be able to make that hard choice. As much as I'd like to say I'd be brave enough to do what Aaron was about to do, I think this is one of those situations where you have to be in it, and then, and only then, will you truly know what you're made of. So back to Aaron's situation, of course. Now here's where that cheap multi-tool came in. Just a basic tool with a dull knife, pliers, and some other attachments. You know, something you'd get for free with a purchase of a backpack or something like that. He tested the blade on his arm. It wouldn't cut through bone, but then he realized he didn't need to cut the bone. He could break it. Using the torque from his own body, Aaron bent his arm until he heard it snap. Once, then again. Clean breaks. And then came the knife, the hardest part. He used it to saw through muscle, tendons, and nerves. He described it later as a sensation like fire running through his body. He didn't stop, and after an hour of this unimaginable self-surgery, Aaron was finally free. One man in a canyon using a multi-tool to cut off his own arm just to survive. And Aaron didn't just stop after freeing himself. He still had to climb out of the canyon, one-handed, bleeding and weak. He rappelled down a 65-foot cliff using his good arm and hiked 6 miles through the desert until he found help. Family hiking nearby spotted him, and within hours, a rescue team airlifted him to safety. He lost his arm, yes, but he gained a second chance at life. Aaron later wrote a book called Between a Rock and a Hard Place, which became the film 127 Hours, starring James Franco, directed by Danny Boyle, which is an excellent movie. If you haven't seen it already, I'd highly recommend checking it out. Aaron's journey didn't end with the helicopter that lifted him out of the canyon. He spent weeks in the hospital. There were dozens of surgeries, a lot of physical therapy, and mental healing. But his recovery wasn't just about rebuilding his body, it was also about reclaiming his life. And in a moment that truly speaks about the kind of person he is, Aaron actually returned to the Blue John Canyon months later. He guided park officials back to the exact crevice where his arm had remained trapped, and together they recovered the remains. It took 13 men, a winch, and a hydraulic jack. So following that, the remains were cremated and the ashes were given to Aaron, where he then scattered them in the very same canyon where he was once stuck. According to him, he said that's where they belong. After all that, of course, life kept moving forward. Since then, he has spoken to audiences all over the world about perseverance, purpose, and the human will to live. And Aaron didn't just go back to climbing, he eventually became a husband and a father. And he once said that everything he went through in that canyon led him to where he is today, and that he wouldn't change a thing. And when he holds his son in his one good arm, he holds more than just a child. He holds the proof that the human spirit, when tested, can do the impossible. Aaron's story is a brutal reminder that life can change in an instant. But it's also proof that we're capable of so much more than we think when we're pushed to the edge. Now, while I myself have experienced my own adversity in life, I of course cannot say I've ever had to go through something so incredible as to what Aaron did. And I think hearing stories like this is important because it gives us perspective. Life is hard, I know, but there are people out there that go through even tougher situations every day. That's why I remind myself that each day that I have food to eat, a roof over my head, running water, and clothing to wear, life isn't so bad at all, really. Sometimes it's not the gear that saves us, it's the spirit within. Yes, without that multi-tool, Aaron wouldn't have been able to escape. But if he didn't have such an amazing will and determination to live, it wouldn't have mattered. It wasn't just the multi-tool that saved him, but of course it doesn't hurt to have a good one, just in case. And as for this Paracord belt pouch, it came out just right. It fits my multi-tool and it stays nice and snug even when it's not buckled. I did have to remove the pocket clip because it makes it easier to get in and out, which shouldn't be an issue if I'm using this pouch. And I think something like this can keep your multi-tool even more secure than just when it's clipped to your pocket. The tools definitely do matter in this case, but they're of no use unless you know how to use them, and also have the ability to muster that inner strength to do what you need to do in trying times. So stay safe, stay sharp, and always be prepared. I'll see you in the next build.